Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Paranormal News, where I bring you all the wacky, weird, creepy, and yes, the paranormal news from around the world. This one is weird, but it's actually pretty amazing also. This is a article from foxnews.com, and it is about a study that is being done with honeybee venom. It is amazing. So let's get right into this one. It was published 6 days ago by Amy McGorry, and the title of the article is Honeybee Venom Destroyed Breast Cancer Cells Study. A compound in bee venom can destroy cancer cell membranes within 60 minutes. Pretty exciting stuff. Venom from honeybees rapidly destroyed triple negative breast cancer, a type of cancer that has limited treatment options, and HER2 enriched breast cancer cells, according to a study published in the journal MPJ Precision Oncology, using the venom from over 300 honeybees and bumblebees in England, Ireland, and Perth, Western Australia. Dr. Sierra Duffy from the Harry Perkins Institute of Medical Research and the University of Western Australia tested the effect of the venom on the clinical subtypes of breast cancer, according to news release. The venom was extremely potent, Duffy said in the release. The study investigated the anti-cancer properties of the venom in honeybees and melatonin, the active component of honeybee venom, according to the published study on different types of breast cancer cells. And this is a picture of honeybees in a honeycomb. Isn't that amazing? Bees are such fascinating creatures. And honey that they produce is an amazing food. It's really good for you. It has antiseptic properties to it, and it can literally last forever. It doesn't go bad, which is amazing. They actually found some honey in some pots inside the tombs in Egypt, and the people that found it actually ate it, and it was still good. Isn't that fascinating? We found both honeybee venom and melatonin significantly, selectively, and rapidly reduced the viability of triple-negative breast cancer and HER2 enriched breast cancer cells, Duffy said in the release. Duffy explained in the release of the compound, melatonin also had positive results. We tested a very small, positively charged peptide in honeybee venom called melatonin, which we could reproduce synthetically, and found that the synthetic product mirrored the majority of the anti-cancer effects of honeybee venom. Duffy said the study showed melatonin not only destroyed cancer cells, but also reduced the cancer cell's chemical messages that enable the cancer to divide and proliferate within 20 minutes. We found that melatonin can completely destroy cancer cell membranes within 60 minutes. Wow. I'll go over that here in a minute when the article's over. That is amazing. We looked at how honeybee venom and melatonin affect the cancer signaling pathways, the chemical messages that are fundamental for cancer cell growth and reproduction. And we found that very quickly these signaling pathways were shut down, Duffy said in the release. The melatonin was also tested to see if it could be used in conjunction with current chemotherapy drugs. Melatonin forms pores in the cancer cell membranes, which could potentially help the entry of other treatments into the cancer cell to help destroy the cancer, according to the press release. We found that melatonin can be used with small molecules or chemotherapies, such as docetaxel, to treat highly aggressive types of breast cancer. The combination of melatonin and docetaxel was extremely efficient in reducing tumor growth in mice. Professor Peter Klinken, Western Australia's chief scientist, said in the release, "This is an incredibly exciting observation that melatonin, a major component of honeybee venom, can suppress the growth of deadly breast cancer cells, particularly triple-negative breast cancer." Klinken also said, "It provides another wonderful example of where compounds in nature can be used to treat human diseases. Duffy also stated the type of bee was particular to her findings. I found that the European honeybee in Australia, Ireland, and England produced almost identical effects in breast cancer compared to normal cells. However, bumblebee venom was unable to induce cell death even at very high concentrations. The release said future studies are needed to formally assess the best method of providing melatonin, as well as maximum tolerated doses and potential toxicities. And that is the end of this article. A couple things I want to go over really quickly. The first part that I would like to go over is the fact that they said that it's amazing that you can find this stuff in nature. I have always said that. God has provided us with absolutely everything we need to cure any disease. It's all in nature for us. There's always a plant or some byproduct of an animal that can cure damn near everything. It's just a matter of finding it, figuring it out, testing it, and getting it to people. This is truly amazing. The other thing I want to talk about is this paragraph right here at the top. I'm going to reread this paragraph. Duffy explained in the release of the compound melatonin also had positive results. We tested a very small, positively charged peptide in honeybee venom called melatonin, which we could reproduce synthetically, and found that the synthetic product mirrored the majority of the anti-cancer effects of honeybee venom. Now, that is extremely important because what they're saying here is they can reproduce synthetically in a lab this melatonin, this peptide from honeybee venom that actually has the anti-cancer properties. They can make it in a lab, which means they can mass produce it. So if the studies are done after this that back this up and the research is moved along, we could potentially be looking at a cure for this type of cancer that can be produced in a lab synthetically. And when you can produce it synthetically, which that means you can mass produce it synthetically, which means the price will end up going down. So we could be looking at a very good and eventually a very cheap cure for these cancers, which is absolutely brilliant. And they're talking here about the triple negative breast cancers, which they're saying are one of the worst kinds with very few options. So this is just brilliant. I absolutely love this article. This is incredibly great news. And it reminds me of something else that is fairly amazing. I watched a documentary years ago on the Science Channel. And in this documentary, there were people that were doing something that I thought was absolutely insane. They were intentionally allowing themselves to be stung by honeybees. They were taking the bees and they were putting them on their arm with tweezers. And then they would put a little glass thing over top of them so they couldn't escape. And they would just wait until it stung them. And they were doing multiple stings a day, like dozens of stings a day. And I thought, that's insane. Why in the Sam hell would you do that to yourself? They claimed that the stings actually helped their conditions. Some of them had different forms of cancer. Some of them had other long-term illnesses that had no actual cures. They just had ways to manage the diseases. And they were claiming at the time that the bee stings were actually beneficial to them and helped their disease. Now, everybody thought they were crazy. There were some scientists who said, that's interesting. I wonder why. And I guess started to look into it. I don't know if that's where this idea for this study came from. I have no idea. I just think it's extremely interesting that I saw that documentary years ago, many years ago. And I remember thinking to myself, that's fascinating. It has to work for these people. Because otherwise, why in the hell would you allow yourself to be stung over and over and over again if it doesn't work? If you're not seeing benefit from it, why would you put yourself through that? And now we have a study here that is actually showing scientifically in a lab that honeybee venom, the very stuff that these people were injecting themselves with by getting stung, can actually destroy cancer cells and cause cancer cells not to be able to replicate, which is another part of this article, which is huge. Because the way cancer kills you is by replicating itself. It continually copies itself and spreads and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and kills you. If you can stop the cancer from replicating and spreading, that's half the battle right there. And then this thing also makes holes in the cancer cells and causes them to die. So you're not only are you killing the cancer cells you have, but you're stopping the cancer cells from duplicating, replicating, and spreading, which is absolutely amazing. I'm so in awe of this study. This is so cool. I'm going to keep up with this, and I'll try to remember to bring you the information if there's anything cool that comes of this in the future. But this is really, really promising news, and I was super, super excited when I saw this one, and I just had to bring it to you guys. So I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that jazz. And thank you for watching. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you on the next episode. Until I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.